Oh, baby. Folks, it's going to be a quick one. I just got home and just got out of the shower. I've been out all day. There's a hotfix. I'm late, I know, but let's talk about the big things. We're going to do this the quick and dirty way. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do this the long and hard way. Let's do this let's break down every little thing, because I'm not in there to get the quick and dirty. You guys have already got the quick and dirty. Let's do it long and hard. No pun intended. Dark and Darker's ready to play. We've updated. I've just updated. Anyway, let's talk about this update, this hotfix for Dark and Darker. This is a big one, and it's got a lot of anticipated nerfs. Looking at you, Bard. Looking at you, Barbarian. Yeah, you've both been, as my good friend Elastic Fox would put, you've both been schmeckled. So let's talk about it. And Jammy too. Jammy would say schmeckled. Anyway, we got some good stuff coming on here. So here we go. Let's talk about it. Fixed an issue where the trade pop-up may not properly close. Cool. Love to see it. Here's a big one, and we're starting off immediately huge. Movement speed now has a hard cap of 350. Now, a bunch of people were suggesting in my sphere of things that you should only be able to get maybe one speed buff at a time instead of buffs stacking like the Wizard's Haste and the Bard's speed buffs. This is a way of taking that on in an entirely different way. So, cool beans. Unexpected buff, the Quarterstaff, now deals 100% damage no matter which part of the Quarterstaff hits the opponent. This is big. Quarterstaff, when it came out, was big flavor of the month. People love this thing. I still think its moveset is pretty good. It might be lacking in reach, but what it lacks in reach, it makes up for with its moveset. And its damage. It's a headshot machine, and people aren't used to using this thing. I think it's also got pretty decent move speed. I don't think the Quarterstaff takes away from your move speed a lot, so watch out for Barbarians and even like Clerics, classes like that switching to the Quarterstaff, because I think that thing slaps, seriously. So we've got another interesting thing, Axe Specialization. This is, I believe, a Barbarian perk. Instead of getting 5 additional physical damage, you now get 10% physical damage bonus. This is a nice change. It's actually, in my opinion, it's probably a balance change. Plus 10, or excuse me, plus 5 on top of, you know, lower tiered weapons means a lot more. So the fact that it's just now in line with the weapons is great. And before we keep going, I just want to say Ironmace has been incredibly clever, and they also are very, like, they clearly have a vision for all this stuff. Sorry about the blacksmith notification. Dark and Darker's finished updating. But yeah, it's really awesome to see Ironmace like totally taking this stuff on and also taking input from the community at the same time. But you love a developer who has like built up good faith in like their vision for the game, trying to execute it as best they can. And we'll talk about a little bit more about what they said about that later in this post, but they are addressing some of these things. You have probably heard of the Death Ball. This is basically a hasty, no pun intended. Well, pun intended, let's be honest. Hasty patch to help fix some of those things that were not the way they want the game being played. So there you go. Anyway, Rogue's double jump. Rogues, you were the last class to get kind of clapped with nerfs. Now here's a little relief. I think Rogue is in a really good spot. The only thing I want to see, and we'll touch on it a little bit later, is to have throwables stop proccing your class abilities. I think for Rogue and Barbarian, this is equally important. Francesca Axes should not be able to do Achilles Strike. Shout out Aaron Rodgers. And, you know, and I just don't think throwing knives should be able to do Weak Point and Rupture. I think that's crazy. So that's just me. Ironmace clearly doesn't think that's an issue, so I think that's probably going to stay the same. But again, we'll see. I agree with their vision of the game so far, but obviously I would change things. Anyway, so Rogue's getting a little relief. Their double jump slow. After they double jump, they are slowed. That's getting reduced a little bit. Here are the big ones. Wizard. Oh boy, Wizard. Now you'll notice none of these nerfs to Wizard are damage. It's all the utility. So the haste is getting halved. You only get 6 seconds now. And your invisibility is getting lowered from 5 to 3 seconds. That's a lot of utility gone from Wizard. People who play a lot of Wizard, be curious to hear your thoughts on this. Shank, looking at you, I think this is going to be a big deal. I think this is going to be a very big deal. So we'll see. Certainly hurts PvE quite a bit. We'll see how much it hurts PvP. Should be interesting. Here's a couple things. The movement speed reduced from 70 to 65% base of movement speed while casting with a spellbook, and your movement speed reduced from 70 to 65% when casting with a crystal ball. So again, this fast boy wizard thing is a thing of the past. They're trying to slow you down, wizards. I don't know why. Well, you were pretty fast, but I've watched some clips of people catching you, and it's embarrassing. But you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who have watched the Barbarians run down wizards. All those poor Timmy wizards. Anyway, let's get to Barbarian, shall we? Achilles strike. Once again, shout out Jets quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, it hurts. Poor Jets fans. I'm so sorry. Achilles strike physical damage on hit has now been reduced. You no longer get bonus damage. It's at 0. This is huge. And now the damage taken per step has been decreased from 5 to 1. I love this change. I don't know about this. This is punishing. Oh boy. Now the thing is, with Achilles strike, I don't think it benefits from headshot. I could be wrong about that. Barbarians, sound off in the comments. But yeah, I don't know about this. I love this. I think the amount of damage you took was crazy for walking away. Some classes, you have to run away from Barbarian. You just have to. If I'm in a fight with a Barbarian, I have to run as a ranger. I'm running. I cannot let you get close to me. It is over the second you get up to me. And smart Barbarians pull out their fists and are fast enough that they just punch me to death. And there's really not a whole lot I can do. I can try to pull out a bow and triple shot, but if they're up next to me, it's just over. So it doesn't really matter. So very interesting. I love this change. Not sure how this change is going to go, but again, Barbarians don't exactly need damage. This should make Achilles strike, more, a bit more utility. And as such, they've increased the slow. So truly, Achilles strike is doing what it's meant to do. It is a slow, not a damage steroid. So we'll see how this change affects things. I think that's a good change. Accelerando. Duration decreased from 12 to 8 seconds. Again, this is the movement speed buff for bards. It's been reduced big time. So you're getting less movement speed over less time. When you're playing the drum, so when you're doing Din of Darkness, that AoE damage, you are not able to move as quickly. That's a big deal. Bards being able to stay with their team while still playing Din of Darkness is a big thing. And we're kind of jumping around here. The Francesca Axe thing, I wish it was sorted with the Barbarian stuff. But the Francesca Axe damage has been slightly reduced. These things, in the hands of a good Barbarian, like a blue Francesca Axe to the head is like 70 plus damage. Plus Achilles strike was going to get you to 80. And then the 5 damage per step. I mean, it was wild. Shit was wild. So solid nerf, probably necessary. Francesca Axes, I believe they messed with the price of them in the last patch. So they're trying to find a good balance with the throwables for some of these classes, but I think this is definitely going to help. I still think they are a luxury item that you're going to see people who are doing really well use. And as a result, I think they should be okay. So I don't want to see them get too nerfed, but I think taking the damage away from Achilles strike is a step in the right direction in getting Francesca Axes in a good place. So there you go. Here's an interesting one, and this is, I believe, and I want to say this is a precursor to bards getting just absolutely gutted. I think it's coming, folks. Song of Silence now targets all nearby targets, including yourself. That means you're going to silence yourself and your team when you play this. So that's interesting. Again, not sure how that's going to go, but makes sense. So we'll see. The effect radius of Bard's Unchained Harmony has been changed from 600 to 300. Again, reducing that bubble that bards are, kind of able to get their spells off. Totally unique and creative ways of tackling the bard's overpowered issues, making them not move as quickly with the drums, so it's harder for them to keep up with their team while they're playing songs. And then making Unchained Harmony harder to get onto your team / the enemy. I actually don't know if this is a buff or a debuff. I'm going to assume it's a debuff. So you got to be closer to the enemy, I think. I could be totally wrong about this, but that's good. I like the concept of this. Again, I really got to get well versed on the bard. I'm so sorry. I'm not the streamer / content creator to make bard commentary, but I think I like this. It's a pretty severe nerf though. We're having the distance, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Now, here's the biggest change of them all. Bards are crying. Bring them flowers, because this is a rough one. Bard's Tranquility now heals 1 recoverable HP over 10/20/30 seconds. That's scaling with how well you play the song. So let's just, unless you're a potato, you're getting the 30-second one. Now, there are some bards out there that are intentionally bricking songs to play them faster and get the 20-second buff because they can loop all their buffs in the amount of time and they can refresh them. Brilliant stuff, quite honestly. Quite cool to see, but probably not what the devs intended. I'd love to see this maybe rebalanced, honestly, across all the songs. It'd be nice to see maybe this second be a little... I mean, this might be completely rescaled, actually, so this might be. But I'd love to see all the songs rescaled a little bit. This second one should be a little more punishing, I think. Or the first one, even. Who knows? Anyway, so it now heals 1 HP, 1 recoverable HP per second over the time. And you only get it when you're resting. So no more Bard AoE healing nonsense. This is to slow the game down. And we'll hear exactly about this in our developer comments, but we're almost there. We're not quite there. We'll get there. But this is a huge hit to Bard. Bard was effectively a healing class. Bard in a fight, in the amount of time you're fighting, was effectively healing you for 65% of the damage you were taking, and it was no big deal. I mean, that's an issue, man. It's important to know that when Ironmace said, hey, all right, 65% of your health is now recoverable health, 65% of the damage you take is now recoverable health, up from 50, it made Bard and all these classes that get benefits to resting way stronger, and Bard was the biggest one. This is a huge nerf. Bard teams are gonna have to actually, you know, play the game the way that Ironmace wants them to play, so that's gonna be interesting. And here's the other one, Choral of Clarity. I believe this is the spell recharge song. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So Bards, man, they're like, basically their resource regeneration ability has been completely gutted. Now, don't get me wrong, still very helpful to speed these things up. Bard is still very useful, but this is a far cry from where it used to be. So very interesting. And last but not least, the animations of the Horseman's Axe, Hatchet, and Viking Sword have been slightly changed. We'll see about those. Not sure I can comment on those just here, but let's take a look, guys, at these developer comments. So, like I mentioned earlier, Ironmace is looking into ways of slowing down the high tempo of the high-end game, since it is much faster than we originally envisioned. Although we have some large changes in the works that specifically target the tempo of the game for next week, we believe that we needed to address the current speed death ball meta in an urgent manner with some hot fixes. We also plan to have a more extensive rework of the Bard class. Rework of the Bard class. I told you it was coming. Listen, I read the post, okay? It's not, you know, I'm not a soothsayer, let's be honest. Rework of the Bard class while starting to flesh out the Warlock in the future update, along with continual balance changes to better align with the skill versus gear balance we seek. We'll salute to that. Great. I think this is a patch a lot of people were looking for. Wizard is such a strange class. It's always tough to deal with such a high skill class and how to balance it, because when it gets strong, what are you supposed to do? Punish the skillful players? It's a tough line to walk, folks. So Godspeed, Ironmace. Best of luck. Hold the line. Do all this stuff. Bard, again, long time coming. And Barbarian. Much needed Achilles strike nerf. I just want to say, for the record, if you're hanging around me, I've been saying all of this, just for the record. I've been saying Bard's about to get clapped, and I've been saying Barb is about to get clapped. If your name starts with BAR, looking at you, Barry, you're about to get nerfed. It's coming. But yeah, I saw these coming, and I'm sure if you played the game enough, you saw these coming. It was pretty clear, and again, gauging how the community felt about especially this death ball meta. I don't know how that name came about. I'm sure somebody on Reddit said it one time and it caught on for dear life. But very interesting that that Ironmace is addressing it in this way. And I honestly think that Achilles Strike was the way to address Barbarian. It was a must-pick perk because of its damage steroid. And Bard, I think, to slow down gameplay, making it so that some of these regeneration songs are only regenning while the person is resting. I think that is a great way to tackle some of the things that are going on in fights. And then of course you've got this, you've got some other interesting Bard changes that, you know what, you're just gonna have to see how they play out. I think they will have some drastic effects on how combat goes. So guys, let me know what you think about this hotfix, this patch. I think it's quite honestly, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I think this is pretty sick. Would I have liked to see anything else? Off the top of my head, honestly, no. My biggest suggestion, and this is making this video drag on longer than it needs to, but just so I'm putting it out there somewhere. Not that many of you make it this long in the video, but I would love to see some player moderators for Dark and Darker. The trade chat, as you, if you have frequented or have been in the trade chat, it's just wrought with spam bots. But all it takes is one guy every half an hour checking in the trade chats to mute those people. So either Ironmace needs to get somebody on that, on the clock, to just pop in and clap every single one of them, because they don't regen that fast, these bots. If you go in there and you're trading and you block all the spam bots, that's about all the spam bots you're going to be dealing with for about half an hour. So I'd love to see maybe some of the wardens from Discord. There's a huge list of them. There's 10 online right now. There's 19 online right now. Just giving those folks that are in charge of Discord stuff the power to mute players in the trade chat who are potentially breaking rules. Just start it with the spam bots. Just literally give these people the power to mute them. It can go down the line to an Ironmace developer or moderator, or whatever you want to call them, to review and see, was this mute warranted? Really simple shit. Really simple shit that really disrupts what those bots are trying to do, which is just advertise their garbage. And keep in mind, folks, real world trading only encourages hacking in the game. So if you're tired of dying to hackers, it's one of those weird things where, hacking encourages people to be frustrated at the game, which encourages them to buy gold, which encourages people to hack to earn gold to then sell. It's this horrible cyclical garbage thing. So just don't do it in the first place, folks. Don't go buy gold. Trust me, I promise you. I know you're young and stupid, but it's more satisfying if you do it the right way. I promise. Anyway, that's it for this patch. Before this video becomes 20 minutes long, I've been rambling for the last little bit. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. This is going to be a good patch, folks. Hotfix 11, I believe, yeah? This is a good one. Enjoy it, folks. I'll see you in the dungeon.